Chestnuts roasting on an open fire, Jack Frost nipping at your nose, Yuletide carols being sung by a choir and folks dressed up like Eskimos, everybody knows. Hey there friends, how's it going today? David Potts here with Song Notes. Today I'm excited to teach you how to play the Christmas song, right? Chestnuts roasting on an open fire. One of my all-time favorite songs. Chuck, you sent this one in by request. You mentioned the Sanford Son episode where Red Fox is singing this song during a holiday episode with the guitar being played in the background. I watched that scene. Amazing stuff, and it sort of sent me on my way to finally learn this holiday classic. Now let me just quickly say, this song is incredibly complicated and intricate. I watched a bunch of lessons online. Every teacher is going to use subtly different arrangement, right? Subtly different chords at different parts of the song. So what you heard at the beginning there is going to be how I'm going to be playing it. If it sounds good, you can learn it. I'll also do a simplified version at the end of this lesson if you want to learn that. It'll sort of water down the chords quite a bit. They're not going to have their jazzy richness, but it'll be a bit simpler. So before I get into it, head on over to my website to get all my good stuff for this one. My practice notes, right? It'll have the full version I'm teaching, the simplified version tabbed out. I'll do a link to a lyric sheet. I'm going to link to all the lessons that I recommend if you want to see how other teachers tackle this. And I'll also do a melody note breakdown if you want to work on singing. This is a tricky song. There's some key changes. So getting some of those phrases right is really tough, but the melody guide I made will help you out there as well. So let's go through it line by line and we can get into this one, all right? Okay, so what you see here is line 1, okay? Now, this first batch of chords, right? This C major 7 to the D minor 7, E minor 7, F major 7. This phrase happens about 3 different times in the song. So a lot of these parts are going to be used over and over again. You learn them once, you get to use them a bunch, which is always nice, right? This song starts with a C major 7. Okay, think of this as your home bass chord. I'm doing this in the key of C. Nat King Cole recorded it in the key of C sharp, but I'm moving everything down a half step. It's just easier for my brain to work with. All the sharps and flats kind of are mostly moved out of the way if we do it this way. Now, the first phrase here, the first sort of batch of chords, we're going to go up the C major sort of diatonic chords, right? A C major 7, a D minor 7, an E minor 7, and then this F major 7, okay? Now, the guitar brain on you ideally will look at these and recognize that it's just 2 chord shapes you're going to be using in these first 4 chords. The C major 7 and the F major 7 are going to use the same shape. Okay, this is a major 7 chord shape with a 5th string root note. Okay, so it's going to be for the C, 3rd fret, 5th fret, 4th, 5th, right? 3, 5, 4, 5. Same for the F. Okay, the frets change, but the shape is the same. Okay, from there we're going to go to 2 different minor chords that use the same shape: the D minor 7 and the E minor 7. Okay, now when you're playing this, you're going to do 2 sort of languid, sort of really chill beats for each chord, right? So, chestnuts roasting on an open fire. Okay, now if you want, at this point, you could do a walk down just by doing the chords in reverse order and back to the C major 7. Only do that once you're really comfortable with things, and even then I only do it if I'm feeling really warmed up and confident. It's kind of tricky to move a chord shape that quickly, okay? But anyway, right, 2 beats for each chord, right? Chestnuts roasting on an open fire. Now, as far as the strumming or picking pattern, let me give you a few tips here. You can use this throughout the song. I'm not going to do a typical strumming pattern. The simplest way to do it is you just play all the strings at once for each chord you're using, right? So C major 7, D minor 7, E minor 7, F major 7. I'm just sort of grabbing them. You could strum them a single strum as well. You also could do like an arpeggiated chord strum, so to speak. You're just picking each of the strings individually, right? Chestnuts roasting on an open fire. You also could do a sort of bass note and then strum the rest of the chords, right? Chestnuts roasting on an open fire. Jack Frost nipping at your nose. Okay, you could use whatever approach you want there. Take it nice and chill. I like plucking the strings individually. It draws things out, makes it nice and languid, which is the sort of vibe for this song. Let's move into the second phrase here, right? I just played it there. C major 7. Now I'm doing a G minor 7 here. There's a few ways you could do this. Okay, I like to do it by doing my middle finger on the bass note and then barring my ring finger on the 3rd fret of the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd string. If that's tricky, what you also could do is just do 3rd, don't play the 5th string, open 4th string, 3rd, 3rd. Okay, these are your G minor 7 options here. And then we're gonna go to an F. Now, I think technically you could do an F major 7, right? First, skip the 5th string, 2nd, 2nd, 1st. What I recommend though, if you're comfortable wrapping your thumb and you want something easier, just do this, right? 1st fret, take a string, and then just a little triad here on strings 4, 3, and 2. So that's your F. Now we have this F minor. I think technically this is like a B flat 7 with an F bass note, but I'm playing it like this, right? Right? 1st fret on the 6th string, and then on strings 4, 3, and 2, 3, 1, 3. Okay? So that little section there would be Jack Frost nipping at your nose. Okay, one quick other alternative you could do for that G minor 7 is just do a C add 9, right? Or a C9 really. 3rd, 2nd, 3rd, 3rd on the middle 4 strings. So that would be Jack Frost nipping at your nose. Okay, now Yuletide carols being sung by the fire. So basically we're gonna go from an A minor 7, as I have it tabbed out, Yuletide carols being sung by a choir. Okay, now if that A minor 7 is giving you trouble, you could use the middle sort of, you could do just the bass note, skip the 5th string, and just do all 5th fret, right? 5th, skip the 5th string, 5th, 5th, 5th. Or you could just do strings 6, 4, and 3. Right, and in my easier version, I'll show you how you could use open position. I'm going to be avoiding open position in this version because I want things to sound nice and jazzy, and that's going to involve a bunch of closed chord shapes, right? But I do. Yuletide carols. Okay, this is a B flat 7. You could do this. You also could do this. Okay, whatever B flat 7 you like. Now, another C major 7. We're going to use a 6th string root note version right here. 8th fret, skip the 5th string, 9th fret, 9th fret, 8th fret. Okay? And then a B7, 7, 9, 7, 8, 7, 7. Okay? And then it's going to go into this folks dressed up like Eskimos. Before I get to that, let me play the first line, because the Eskimo line is probably the hardest part in the song to wrap my ear around because it changes key briefly. Okay? So really quick, this first line in full before we move on. Chestnuts roasting on an open fire, Jack Frost nipping at your nose, Yuletide carols being sung by a choir. Okay, now here there's a wicked key change going on, but these chords will make the melody easier to play. So I'm doing an E major 7, same shape we used for the C and for the F. It's just a 7th fret root, right? And folks dressed up, this is a B flat 7 to an E flat major 7. Okay, so again, this 4 chord thing right here, this little gauntlet, it's just 2 different chord shapes. It's your 5th fret root of a major 7th chord, right? And then a 6th fret root, dominant 7th chord, to a 5th string root of the major 7 with your 6th fret here, and then G. Okay, so in full, and folks dressed up like Eskimos. That's tricky for you. When I get to the melody, which I'll cover in a separate video on my lesson webpage, you'll hear how we need to get that G sharp in there. And folks dressed up like Eskimos, everybody knows. Okay, so that's going to be how that line starts, and then we're going to go back to the main progression for the sort of second kind of verse you might think here, right? Everybody knows a turkey and some mistletoe. Repeat what we already learned. Help to make the season bright. Okay, and we do what we already did with the A minor 7. Tiny tots with their eyes all aglow. Now we have a new little gauntlet of chords. This is going to be an E minor 7 to an A7 to a D minor 7 to a G7 to a C major 7. Okay, so you got to know your bar chords and your seventh variations of them, whether it's a minor 7th or a dominant 7th, right? So E minor 7 to A7 to D minor 7 to G7, and then end with a C major 7. Okay, so let's move on then. I'll do a playthrough of all this at the end. Now, this is going to move into the sort of middle, I don't know if you call it a middle 8 or a bridge, but that's how I think of it at least. So here we're going to do this progression where we go from a G minor 7, which we already learned. They all know that Santa to a C9 is on his way. He's loading lots and toys and goodies on his sleigh. Okay, so before I go on from that, let me just say it once again. For the G minor 7, if you want, you can just do 3rd fret, open 4th string, and then 3rd fret on the 3rd and 2nd string. Keep these 2 fingers right here, and then just go to the C9 sort of root note, and then your F major 7, right? 1st fret, 2nd, 2nd, 1, right? 1, 2, 2, 1 on strings 6, 4, 3, 2. In my easier version, I show how you can use an open F major 7. Okay, just the 3rd, 2nd, 1st open. Again, I'll show that in my easier version. They know that Santa's on his way. He's loading lots of toys and goodies on his sleigh. Okay, now we're going to do a little key change here. This is going to be an F minor 7. So it's just a minor 7 shape with a 5th string root note, using the 8th fret as our root, it's an F, right? And every mother's child to B flat 7 is gonna spy E flat major 7. Okay, we've already learned that one. So F minor 7, B flat 7, to E flat major 7. I'm not stringing through the thinnest string here. I just think that the melody is better served if you end with the 2nd string, right? And now, to see if reindeer really know how to fly, basically, in my easy version, I show how this is just sort of riffing. This is just going on a D7 to a G, okay? But when we're going to jazz things up, what we're going to do is use this voicing. I guess this is a D7, sus4 over A, technically. And then we're going to move our middle and ring fingers down 1 fret each, but keep our pinky and index fingers where they are. And then we're going to go to a G7 sus4. Okay, G7 is this. 3rd, 5th, 3rd, 4th, 3rd, 3rd. To make it a sus4, what you want to do is add your pinky on the 3rd string, 7th fret. So it's 3, 5, 3, 5, 3. And if you want to add the thinnest string, you can. And then take your pinky off. Okay? So let me do that bridge section again, so to speak, right? They know that Santa's on his way. He's loading lots and toys and goodies on his sleigh. And every mother's child is gonna spy to see if reindeer really know how to fly. And then we get ready for the end. And most of this is everything we've already learned, just reused, okay? And so I'm offering a simple phrase to folks from 1 to 92. Although it's been said many times, many ways. Okay, that's all the same as what we've already learned. The only difference is this last part here. Right? 8, 7, 8. Think of this as a D7 shape, right? You just do it on frets 8, 7, 8. Mary. And then here, the last line, we're going to do a C major 7 up here in the 8th fret. Christmas to an A minor 7, to a D minor 7, to a G7, and then end with a C major 7. Now I'll show you that Jingle Bells thing in a minute here, but Merry Christmas to, then the Jingle Bells part, you. Okay? As far as that Jingle Bells part, just think of this as a C major 7, right? And you're going to be plucking strings 3 and 2 of the chord shape, right? And then here, strings 1 and 2, 5th fret, 3rd fret, right? And then here's the only thing you have to do with your fingers. Move your pinky to the 3rd string, 5th fret, pull your pinky up, and then put your pinky back down for the final strum, okay? So that's everything you need to play things as I have arranged them, okay? I'll do a playthrough in just a few minutes. Let me show you the simplified version though, if you want something a little bit easier. And what you can do is mix and match different parts of the full version and the simplified version to give you a version that works for you. And again, head on over to my lesson webpage to find all the lessons I've found that teach this song. But again, all of them, I think all of them are higher in difficulty than what I'm showing you here. So I want anyone who wants to play this song to be able to play it. Here's what a simple version would sound like, okay? So the first line, okay? Chestnuts roasting on an open fire, Jack Frost nipping at your nose, Yuletide carols being sung by a choir, and folks dressed up like Eskimos. That first line, just looking at it real quick, we're just using regular open C chord, open D minor, open E minor. Now the F, let's use a simple one, just a regular open position, F major 7. Okay, 3rd, 2nd, 1st open. Easiest F you can play with that major 7th added. And then we do to a C, put your pinky down for a C7, and then do a F major triad. Okay, strings 4, 3, and 2. And then for this F minor with a little star, because I don't know what this chord's actually called, it's 3rd, 1st, 3rd. Just think of your ring finger staying put on the F bass note. Okay, get good at that transition. Okay, then we go to an A minor 7, Yuletide carols. Here's a little B flat major 7 triad. It's just a nice little substitute here. Yuletide carols being sung by a choir. B7, it's a good chord to know. It's a good open chord. And then this next part is a real headache because it's really hard to emulate an E major 7, a B flat 7, and an E flat major 7 in open position. So what I'm going to do is just do an E, okay, an E to a G7 basically. But what we're going to do is strum through the 3rd string only. Folks dressed up like Eskimos. And I do the vocal melody there for a few different notes, and then I end with this G7. You could use a regular G, right? And folks dressed up like Eskimos. But if you want to capture the melody, folks dressed up like Eskimos. Everybody knows a turkey and some mistletoe help to make the season bright. Okay, we've already learned this stuff. Same with the next line. Tiny tots with their eyes all aglow will find it hard to sleep tonight. All open position there, right? E minor, A7, D minor 7, just these 3 strings only, G or G7 if you want to do it, and then do a C. Okay? A lot easier, but again, you lose some of the jazzy color, but hopefully it's a lot easier. So let's keep on going here. This next part, we're going to go from a G minor, just 3rd fret on the 6th, 3rd, and 2nd string, and add the open 4th string if you want. They know that Santa Santa's on his way. Do that again. He's loading lots and toys of goodies on his sleigh. Okay, now this next part we're going to use some sort of triads here to make it nice and easy, right? An F minor, a B flat, and an E major 7. But it's all on strings 4, 3, and 2. So think of the 10, 10, 9 as just an A minor. But all you're doing is playing the fretted notes, and you're on frets 10, 10, 9. Then frets 8, 7, 6, and then 8, 7, 8. Okay, it's not as full, but it's easier to play. So the lyrics are, and every mother's child is gonna spy to see if reindeer really know how to fly. Okay, just a G to a G7. You can just stay on G if you want, right? So that's, again, nice, easier way to get through all that key change stuff. And then we get back to the main progression we've already learned, right? And so I'm offering a simple phrase to folks from 1 to 92. And though it's been said many times, many ways, Merry Christmas to you. Okay, we're not doing the C major 7 here. We're just keeping it nice and easy. So that is a beginner-friendly version. I'm going to do a playthrough now of singing for the full version and for the beginner version. If you want to play through where I'm a bit slower with no singing, those are over on my website as separate videos. But again, what I'll show you coming up hopefully will help you out. And remember to get the lyric sheet that I linked to on my website and my practice notes and all the other lessons that I recommend. All right, so I'm going to play this out. Thanks for watching, y'all. I'll see you on my website. Chestnuts roasting on an open fire, Jack Frost nipping at your nose, Yuletide carols being sung by a choir, and folks dressed up like Eskimos. Everybody knows a turkey and some mistletoe help to make the season bright. Tiny tots with their eyes all aglow will find it hard to sleep tonight. They know that Santa's on his way. He's loading lots of toys and goodies on his sleigh. And every mother's child is gonna spy to see if reindeer really know how to fly. And so I'm offering this simple phrase to folks from 1 to 92. Though it's been said many times, many ways, Merry Christmas to you. Chestnuts roasting on an open fire, Jack Frost nipping at your nose, Yuletide carols being sung by a choir, and folks dressed up like Eskimos. Everybody knows a turkey and some mistletoe help to make the season bright. Tiny tots with their eyes all aglow will find it hard to sleep tonight. They know that Santa's on his way. He's loading lots and toys of goodies on his sleigh. And every mother's child is gonna spy to see if reindeer really know how to fly. And so I'm offering this simple phrase to folks from 1 to 92. Though it's been said many times, many ways, Merry Christmas to you. All right, y'all, so thanks for watching. Again, head on over to my website, songnotes.net, to get the print-friendly practice guide for this with tabs for everything, beginner version, as well as the simplified version. I'll link out to a full lyric sheet. I'll link out also to all the lessons I recommend if you want to see how other teachers tackle this song. And if you've watched this far and you're not a member on my website, please consider joining. You unlock all my premium courses, all my bonus materials as far as extra videos, jam tracks, my practice guides, my sort of course cheat sheets. And for the song sheets that I do have for some of my songs, those are for sale for licensing reasons. There's a 50% discount code that you can use when you're buying those. So head on over. I have a video tour. It explains everything. And to all of you who are supporting me with membership, you have my true, sincere thanks and gratitude. I wish you all a Merry Christmas and happy holiday season. So I'll see you in the next lesson. And until then, my friends, take care and bye-bye.